Today is August 19th. It's the 232nd day of the year, and this is the On This Day podcast. Today is World Humanitarian Day, designated by the UN General Assembly as a day of recognition of the work done by humanitarian personnel around the world, and of those who have lost their lives working for humanitarian causes. World Humanitarian Day is observed on this day, the anniversary of the bombing of the United Nations mission in Baghdad, Iraq in 2003, which kills 22 aid workers, including the UN Special Representative in Iraq, Sergio Vieira de Mello. The Brazilian Vieira de Mello spends more than 34 years of his career with the UN working in humanitarian and political programs all around the world. He is considered a top candidate for Secretary General before he loses his life on this day in 2003 in Baghdad. After his death, his family founds the Sergio Vieira de Mello Foundation to continue his work aiding victims of humanitarian crises wherever they occur. The Sergio Vieira de Mello Foundation joins the UN in observing World Humanitarian Day as a day to celebrate the spirit that inspires humanitarian work around the world. Today is also National Potato Day here in the United States, celebrating the potato, that starchy plant tuber we generally scarf down as a side dish that's tasty any which way you cut it. Peeled, steak, curly, waffle, mashed, roasted, boiled, baked, fried, twice baked, red, sweet skins, chips, or my favorite, au gratin. More than 350 million tons of potatoes are grown throughout the world every year. And here in the U.S., we Americans eat, on average, over 100 pounds of potatoes per person per year. So go hug a potato today to celebrate National Potato Day. And also here in the States, today is National Aviation Day, celebrating the wonder of flight and the development of aviation. Aviation Day is observed on this day as it is the anniversary of the birth of Orville Wright in 1871. Orville, of course, is one half of the Wright brothers, who take to the skies in their Wright Flyer in 1903. In 1939, FDR proclaims this day to be National Aviation Day. It's later formally designated as such by Congress, calling for the flag to be displayed on all government buildings and inviting the people of the United States to observe National Aviation Day with appropriate exercises to further stimulate interest in aviation in the United States. Appropriate exercises such as waiting in line at a TSA checkpoint, getting bumped from your flight, or landing at the wrong airport. Sure, modern aviation is an amazing thing. You can travel across the country in a matter of hours. That used to take months. And if you were lucky, you didn't have to resort to cannibalizing members of your own travel party. And you can go to the other side of the world in like 18 hours. That alone is worth celebrating on National Aviation Day.
Flying is the worst one because people come back from flights and they tell you their story. And it's like a horror story. They act like their flight was like a cattle car in the 40s in Germany. That's how bad they make it sound.
Right.
They're like, it was the worst day of my life. First of all, we didn't board for 20 minutes.
Right.
And then we get on the plane and they made us sit there on the runway for 40 minutes. We had to sit there. Oh, really? What happened next? Did you fly through the air incredibly like a bird? Did you partake in the miracle of human flight, you non-contributing zero that you got to fly? You're flying! It's amazing. Everybody on every plane should just constantly be going, oh my God! Wow!
Yes.
You're flying. You're sitting in a chair in the sky.
Yes. Yeah.
Born on this day in 1883, French fashion designer Coco Chanel. Chanel is born Gabrielle Bonheur Chanel in Saumur, France. Chanel is 12 when her mother dies, and her father sends her to live in an orphanage. It is there in the orphanage where she learns to sew. She aspires to be an entertainer and tries to make it big as a singer, performing in cabarets and moulins in the resort town of Vichy. While Chanel is youthfully alluring and physically charming, her singing voice is less inspiring, and she realizes after a season in Vichy that she will not achieve success as a singer. But it's during her time in the cabaret that she acquires the nickname Coco, which comes either from the title of a song she sings, or it's short for the French word cocotte, which means a kept woman. It also means a casserole. For 3 years, she is the mistress of textile heir Etienne Balzan. While with Balzan, she learns how to make hats. She has an affair with Balzan's friend, Captain Arthur Capel. And according to biographer Justine Picardy, she has a son with Balzan, who she will pass off as her nephew, André Palès. She leaves Balzan to be with Capel, who installs her in an apartment in Paris and finances her millinery operation. In 1910, Chanel opens a store in Paris called Chanel Mode and starts selling hats. Soon she's making and selling clothes in her Paris store, as well as in stores she opens in Biarritz and Deauville. On a cold day in Deauville, she fashions a dress out of an old jersey that she puts on simply to stay warm. But everyone wants to know where they can get one. In 1918, she purchases the building at 31 Rue Cambon and opens her Maison de Couture. In the 1920s, Chanel creates a perfume, Chanel No. 5, with the financial backing of the Wertheimer brothers, who run the cosmetics firm Bourjois. The perfume is a hit, yet Chanel has given away most of her revenue to the Wertheimer brothers in order to get the product to market. She earns only 10% of all revenues on the fragrance that bears her name. Her other successes in the 1920s include the Chanel suit, a collarless jacket paired with a fitted skirt, and Chanel's little black dress, a casual, chic evening wear design that has yet to go out of style. In the 1930s, Chanel is paid $1 million by MGM to design wardrobe for stars such as Gloria Swanson, Greta Garbo, and Marlene Dietrich. Chanel declares Hollywood the capital of bad taste. And it's around this time that Chanel begins shooting up morphine on a daily basis. At the onset of World War II, Chanel closes her stores and retreats to an apartment in Paris's Hotel Ritz, carrying on a relationship with German officer Hans von Dinklage. She tries to claim full ownership of Chanel No. 5 under the Nazi seizures of Jewish-owned businesses, but her business partners, the Wertheimer brothers, have legally transferred their ownership in the scent to a Christian businessman in anticipation of the Nazi mandates. After the war, Chanel falls out of favor with the public, who see her as a traitor for her association with the Nazis during the war and for her anti-Semitic views. And Coco Chanel goes into exile. A decade later, she returns to the fashion scene and once again creates timeless designs that are feminine, stylish, and comfortable. Coco Chanel, born on this day in 1883, passes away in 1971 at the age of 87 in her apartment at the Hotel Ritz. There are 134 days left in the year. On This Day is produced by me, Dave Schultz. Thank you very much for listening. And as always, thank you for sharing the show. That really, really helps. That's how other people find the show. If you love the show, they're going to love it as much, but they just don't know about it yet. Born on this day in 1921, creator of Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry. Roddenberry pilots a B-17 Flying Fortress during World War II. He flies 89 combat missions. After the war, he ends up in Los Angeles and just happens to create a show that a couple people like. So if you're still listening, luxury must be comfortable. Otherwise, it's not luxury. Talk to you tomorrow.